Paper name Inclusive Education, presented by Sejal Pandey. Course is MAD Special Education Hearing Impairment, semester 2nd, and the paper code is MCP 203. And the topic is peer mediated instructions, peer tutoring, and cooperative learning. Peer mediated instruction, this is also called PMI in short, is an approach in special education where peers of the target student are trained to provide necessary tutoring in educational, behavioral, and or social concerns. In PMI, peers may mediate by modeling appropriate behavior themselves, using prompting procedures to elicit appropriate behavior from the target students and reinforcing appropriate behavior when it occurs. The peer tutors are chosen from the target students' classrooms, trained to mediate and closely observe during mediation. Among the advantages noted to the techniques, it takes advantage of the positive potential of peer pressure and may integrate target student more fully in their peer group. Advantages of PMI as an intervention strategy. First, there is never a shortage of peer to use, especially when implementing an intervention in a school or classroom. Second is students are influenced through observational learning by what they see their peers doing. Third, students are often less intimidated by a peers than they are a teacher, which makes instruction and feedback from peers potentially more effective. Fourth one is it may not only offer short-term intervention benefits but can also strengthen the target students' social ties within the classroom. Finally, research has been done with many different types of learners, including learners with learning disabilities, behavioral disorder, and attention deficit hyperactivity range of students, said by Funks and Funks 2005. Application to general education classroom setting. Varying forms of peer mediated instruction and interventions have been conducted in a great range of settings over the decades. Research has been conducted in educational and non educational environments with positive outcomes in each. It is important to note that PMI strategies are not restricted or inclusive to education or special education, but have been found to be effective in such as well as inclusive classroom settings. The following characteristics have been identified as central of successful implementation of peer mediated instruction. Expectation for student learning, careful orientation to lessons, clear and focused instructions to participants, close teacher monitoring of student progress, reteach, use class time for learning, positive and personal teacher and student interaction. Now, peer tutoring. Peer tutoring is an instructional strategy that consists of student partnership, high achieving students with low achieving students, or those with comparable achievement for structured reading and math study sessions. It is an organized learning experience in which one student serves as the teacher or tutor and one is the learning or duty. It gives students an opportunity to use their knowledge in a meaningful social way. According to Utley and Morpwitt, peers tutoring, defined as a class of practices and strategies that employ peers as one-on-one teachers to individualize instruction, practice, repetition, and classification of concept, is supported by a substantial research based for prompting improved academic outcomes across content area. Peer tutoring has led to improvements in student reading outcomes. For example, fluency and comprehension math scores on standardized assessments and curriculum-based measurements. Science gains on curriculum-based tests and standardized tests, spelling accuracy, and the acquisition of social studies content knowledge. Objectives of peer tutoring. The main objectives of peer tutoring program are as follows: to provide learning assistance to a student in a particular academic subject or skill, are by pairing such students with fellow students who have demonstrated competence in that particular academic subject or skill area. To improve students' understanding and application of concepts and methods as they pertain to a particular subject or skill, thereby enhancing student success. To provide tutors with an opportunity to refine their communication, instructional, and interpersonal skills through the process of peer interactive instruction. To provide tutors with a constructive mechanism to consolidate their own knowledge in a particular subject or skill area while earning a fee for the provision of tutorial services. Peer tutoring models. At present, following types of peer tutoring models are prevailing. One is class-wise peer tutoring (CWPT). Class-wise peer into group of 5 students with the different ability levels. Students then act as tutors. Duties, both tutor and tutee, typically CWPT involves highly structured procedure, directed rehearsal, competitive teams, and posting of scores. Second one is cross-age peer tutoring. In this tutoring program, older students are paired with younger students and they engage in teaching learning process. Younger students are considered as learners or tutees, and the older students are considered as the teachers or tutor. Strategies PLS. Peer assisted learning strategies is a form of CWPT model. It involves a teacher pairing students who need addition, instruction, or help with a peer who can assist. Groups are flexible and change across a variety of subject areas or skills. Cue cards, small pieces of card stock upon which are printed a list of peer tutoring steps may be provided to help students remember PLS steps. All students have the opportunity to function as a tutor or tutee at different times. Students are typically paired with other students who are at same without a large discrepancy between abilities. Reciprocal peer tutoring (RPT). Two or more students alternate between acting as the tutor and the tutee during each session with equitable time in each role. Often higher performing students are paired with lower performing students. RPT utilizes a structured format that encourages teaching material, monitoring answer, and evaluating and encouraging peers. Both groups and individual rewards may be earned to motivate and maximize learning. Same as peer tutoring. Peers who are within 1 or 2 years of age are paired to revive key concepts. Students may have similar abilities levels or a more advanced student. Students who have similar abilities should have an equal understanding of the content material and concepts. Selection of tutors and tutees. One common method for determining peers of groups involves ranking students from a highest performing to the lowest performing student for the particular activity or subject can be performed by cutting the list in half and then matching the top performing student with the first lowest performing student, the second highest performing student with the second lowest performing student, and so forth. Training of tutors. For training peer tutors, following steps can be taken: to establish rule for confidentiality of student progress, to define and develop procedures for social skill, taking turns using respectful language and accepting criticism or feedback, to define and develop procedures for moving into peer tutoring groups quickly and quietly, to explain and model peer tutoring and allow students to practice prior to first peer tutoring session. Consider using a prepared script for practicing interaction. To train students how to provide feedback for correct and incorrect peer response, including praise. Advantages of peer tutoring. In inclusive education, it is important for diverse needs students. It is a widely researched practice across ages, grade level, and subject areas. Direct interaction between students promotes active learning. Peer teachers reinforce their own learning by instructing others. Students feel more comfortable and open when interacting with the peer. Peer and students share a similar discourse, allowing for greater understanding. The intervention allows students to receive one-to-one assistance. Students receive more time for individualized learning. Students have increased opportunity to respond in smaller groups. It promotes academic and social development for both the tutor and tutee. Student engagement and time on task increases. Now, cooperative learning. Introduction. Cooperative learning can be defined as collaboration in an instructional setting, either between or among members of small groups that achieves learning outcomes, including ability to remember and utilize what is learned. Students work together in small groups and learn through interaction with each other while the teacher coaches the process. Cooperative learning is a part of a group of teaching learning techniques where students interact with each other to acquire and practice the elements of a subject matter and to meet common learning goals. Definition. Cooperative learning involves students working together in small groups to accomplish shared goals. Successful cooperative learning tasks as intellectually demanding, creative, open-ended, and involve high-order thinking tasks. Types of cooperative learning. Social skill, taking turns using respectful language and accepting criticism or feedback, to define and develop procedures for moving into peer tutoring groups quickly and quietly, to explain and model peer tutoring and allow students to practice prior to first peer tutoring session. Consider using a prepared script for practicing interaction. To train students how to provide feedback for correct and incorrect peer response, including praise. Advantages of peer tutoring. In inclusive education, it is important for diverse needs students. It is a widely researched practice across ages, grade level, and subject areas. Direct interaction between students promotes active learning. Peer teachers reinforce their own learning by instructing others. Students feel more comfortable and open when interacting with the peer. Peer and students share a similar discourse, allowing for greater understanding. The intervention allows students to receive one-to-one assistance. Students receive more time for individualized learning. Students have increased opportunity to respond in smaller groups. It promotes academic and social development for both the tutor and tutee. Student engagement and time on task increases. Now, cooperative learning. Introduction. Cooperative learning can be defined as collaboration in an instructional setting either between or among members of small groups that achieves learning outcomes including ability to remember and utilize what is learned. Students work together in small groups and learn through interaction with each other while the teacher coaches the process. Cooperative learning is a part of a group of teaching learning techniques where students interact with each other to acquire and practice the elements of a subject matter and to meet common learning goals. Definition. Cooperative learning involves students working together in small groups to accomplish shared goals. Successful cooperative learning tasks as intellectually demanding, creative, open-ended, and involve high-order thinking tasks. Types of cooperative learning. Formal cooperative learning. This is structured, facilitated, and monitored by educator over time and is used to achieve group goals in task work. Example, completing a unit. Any course material or assignment can be adapted to this type of learning and groups can vary from 2 to 6 people with a discussion lasting from a few minutes up to an entire period. Informal cooperative learning incorporates group learning with passive teaching by drawing attention to material through small groups throughout the lesson or by discussion at the end of a lesson. These groups are often temporary and can change from lesson to lesson. Group-based learning. In group-based cooperative learning, these peer groups gather together over the long to develop or contribute to one another's knowledge mastery on a topic by regularly discussing material, encouraging one another, and supporting the academic and personal success of the group members. Face-to-face interaction. Promote one another's success by sharing resources, encourage help, and applaud each other's efforts. Support one another academically and personally. Explain how to solve problems. Teach each other. Checks for one another's understanding. Discuss concepts being learned. Connect present with past learning. Foster the group mutual goals. This structure is useful for quickly reviving objective material in a fun way. These students in each team are numbered. Each team might have 4 students numbered 1, 2, 3, 4. Students coach each other on materials to be mastered. Bookends. Ask a student to pair up, give them a topic and tell them to spend a couple of minutes deciding how to teach that topic to the partners. After giving participants time to think, invite them to take turns teaching the topic to their partners. Benefits of cooperative learning. Cooperative learning benefits. Cooperative learning teaching techniques facilitate learning and memory by ensuring attention through active student participation, adding meaning and relevance to the material, enabling students to learn from modeling or through observation of others. Students of all ability level show higher academic achievement when taught using cooperative learning techniques as opposed to traditional techniques. Encouraging student participation through expectation of rewards, desire to avoid possible punishment, and enhance student engagement. Benefits of cooperative learning and inclusive education. Enhance student engagement, development of social and communication skills, promotion of higher thinking level, encourage diversity and inclusion. Thank you.